A magnitude 6.8 earthquake has rocked the southern coast of Panama and Costa Rica.
Magnitude 6.8 earthquake near Panama. This is a very strong earthquake. Anytime you're registering above a magnitude 5, not only are you talking about having that tremendous impact of what you're feeling, but we're talking about the potential of having large impact on infrastructure.
On May 24, 2024, a powerful earthquake struck the Gulf of Darien near the Panama-Colombia border. The United States Geological Survey reported a magnitude of 6.6 on the Richter scale, occurring at around 10:05 p.m. local time.
The USGS is reporting a strong 6.8 earthquake that was just off the coast of Panama. The quake happened within the past hour. The epicenter is offshore, south of the border of Panama and Costa Rica.
Esa vaina tembloro.
Shortly after, a second quake measuring 4.9 hit the same region. What could be causing these intense tremors in such a remote location? Let us delve into the alarming reasons behind these seismic events that might spell disaster for humanity. The aftershocks in Panama caused no damage. After the big earthquakes, a bunch of smaller shakes happened. They were all under 4.0 on the Richter scale, which isn't too strong. These little shakes didn't break anything, but local experts and international groups kept an eye on them. Panama's National Civil Protection Agency, CINAPROC, told everyone that there was no damage to buildings or roads, and no big wave was coming.
No immediate damage has been reported as the quake was relatively far from any major populated areas. But authorities have begun inspecting structures for any potential damage.
Even though the experts said all was okay, people on social media talked about feeling the ground move. These stories show how much earthquakes can scare people, even if nothing is broken. The authorities in Panama and Colombia kept telling everyone that buildings and roads were still safe, and there was no wave coming. They wanted to keep people calm and make sure everyone knew what was really happening. The place where these earthquakes happened is tough to live in. It's full of thick jungles and not many people live there. The Darien Gap, a very hard and dangerous path used by migrants, is in this area. Even though it's remote, the shakes were strong enough that people in nearby towns and cities felt them, which made more people worried. Panama doesn't often have big earthquakes. The biggest one in recent times was in 1962, and it was a 7.4. Knowing this history helps us see these earthquakes as part of what sometimes happens in this area. Right after the earthquakes, emergency teams in Panama and Colombia got ready in case more shakes came. They wanted to be sure they could keep people safe. Both governments kept talking to their people, giving updates and advice on how to stay safe. Being ready for disasters all the time is important. By always talking about what to do in an emergency, the governments help people know how to protect themselves. They work with both local and international groups to handle these situations the best they can. Working together helps them react quickly when something happens and also plan for the future. These recent shakes remind us that we might need better plans for when disasters happen. Each earthquake shows us that everyday life can be turned upside down by nature, but the usual responses seem too familiar, like we're just doing the same thing over and over without really getting better. The fast response is good, but it makes you wonder if it's just because we're used to doing things this way, or if we really are ready. It might look like we're in control, but there might be bigger problems we're not fixing. Every time the authorities say they're watching out and keeping people safe, it sounds the same as always. This constant promise of readiness could mean we're not really tackling the main issues or making real improvements. Are we just reacting the same way every time, or are we really making these areas safer? Maybe we're just dealing with what's right in front of us instead of really getting ready for what could happen next. Even though the officials act fast, it often feels like a quick fix rather than a true solution. This approach might calm people down for now, but it doesn't do much to really prepare the areas for what might come. Thinking about whether our responses are deep and lasting is key. Are we really doing enough, or are we just looking efficient? True disaster readiness means having a full plan that not only deals with emergencies, but also makes the areas stronger against future problems. Beyond the tremors, Panama's rich history unfolds with stories of conquest, immense wealth, and strategic importance over the centuries. Panama's fight for freedom from Spain. Panama's strategic location between North and South America has always been significant. Originally, indigenous tribes such as the Guaymi, Cuna, and Choco lived there far before Europeans arrived. The Spanish interest in Panama began when Rodrigo de Bastidas landed in 1501, attracted by reports of gold and pearls on the northern coast. This discovery prompted further exploration by the Spanish, including Christopher Columbus in 1502, who also recognized Panama's wealth potential. The Spanish established their first permanent settlement in Panama in 1510, called Santa Maria la Antigua del Darien, founded by Vasco Núñez de Balboa and Martín Fernández de Enciso. Balboa, seeking fame and fortune, crossed the isthmus in 1513 and was the first European to see the Pacific Ocean from the Americas, which he claimed for Spain and called the South Sea. Pedro Arias Dávila, appointed by the Spanish crown, set up another settlement in 1519 called Nuestra Señora de la Asunción de Panama, now known as Panama City. This city soon became essential for Spanish exploration and as a collection point for wealth, gold and silver, that was shipped back to Spain. Unfortunately, the city also attracted pirates, and it was famously sacked by the English pirate Henry Morgan in 1671. During its colonial era, Panama was controlled by the Spanish Empire, first as part of the Viceroyalty of Peru and later under the Viceroyalty of New Granada, encompassing areas that today are Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. Panama declared its independence from Spain in 1821 and joined Gran Colombia, a country envisioned by Simon Bolivar that included several South American regions. However, Panama remained under Colombian rule when Gran Colombia dissolved in 1831. The 19th century marked a significant development with the construction of the first transcontinental railway in Panama, completed in 1855. This railway was a major undertaking, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and dramatically reducing travel time across the continents. The railway bolstered Panama's role as a critical transportation route. As Panama's strategic importance grew, so did international interest in constructing a canal, a task that would eventually be undertaken by the United States in the early 20th century. The Panama Canal, completed in 1914, transformed global trade routes, reinforcing Panama's position as a pivotal link between the seas. The influence of various powers and a major transit route created a unique blend of cultures and a complex socio-political landscape in Panama. Over the centuries, Panama has seen its share of exploitation and opportunity, making it a focal point in global affairs, shaped by its geographical destiny and the ambitions of both local and foreign powers. Its history is a tapestry of indigenous heritage, colonial conquests, and modern advancements, all centered around its critical geographic position. The concept of a canal through Panama took shape in the 1800s, influenced by the need to improve maritime travel between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. In the 1880s, French engineer Ferdinand de Lesseps, who had famously built the Suez Canal, began the ambitious Panama Canal project. However, his endeavor faced numerous obstacles, including a lack of funds and rampant diseases like malaria and yellow fever, which devastated the workforce. After the French effort failed, the United States took over the project, driven by strategic and economic interests. The U.S. successfully completed the Panama Canal in 1914, creating a significant shortcut for ships traveling between the two oceans and revolutionizing global maritime trade. Its geographical significance directly influenced Panama's path to independence from Colombia. On November 3, 1903, just as the canal project was gaining momentum, Panama declared its independence with the backing of the United States, which was keen on controlling the canal's construction and operation. In return, the newly formed Republic of Panama granted the U.S. a 10-mile wide zone along the canal route. This arrangement lasted until 1999, following the Torrijos-Carter treaties signed in 1977, which set the stage for Panama to regain control of the canal at the end of the century. The 20th century was a tough time for Panama, filled with a lot of change and challenges. In 1968, General Omar Torrijos took over the government in a sudden move and led as a strict but popular leader. He played a key role in getting Panama control over the canal. However, he died unexpectedly in 1981, and General Manuel Noriega took over. Noriega was known for being very harsh and for his connections with illegal substances activities, which caused problems with the U.S. The crisis hit its peak in December 1989 when the U.S. started Operation Just Cause, a military invasion to take Noriega out of power. The reason given for the operation was to stop the trade of illegal substances and protect American lives. Noriega was caught and sent to the U.S., where he was put on trial and sent to prison.
Esperaremos sentados en la ribera del canal a ver el cadáver de nuestro enemigo pasar, pero...
As president, I have no higher obligation than to safeguard the lives of American citizens. And that is why I directed our armed forces to protect the lives of American citizens in Panama and to bring General Noriega to justice in the United States.
After Noriega's fall, Panama started a path towards democracy. Guillermo Endara, who had won the 1989 election but was blocked by Noriega, assumed the presidency. Since then, Panama has focused on strengthening its democratic governance and boosting economic development. Panama has become known in recent years for its robust financial sector, which benefits significantly from the Panama Canal. The canal remains a crucial global shipping route, contributing extensively to the country's economy. Additionally, Panama has developed a vibrant tourism industry, drawing visitors with its stunning landscapes, diverse ecosystems, and rich cultural heritage. The constantly moving plates in the Caribbean show a powerful dance beneath the earth that can lead to big changes. How tectonic movements shape Caribbean islands. The area surrounding the Caribbean plate is very complex due to the interaction of at least 4 major tectonic plates: North America, South America, Nazca, and Cocos. This region features zones where the Earth's crust moves under another plate, creating deep earthquakes, ocean trenches, and chains of volcanoes. These features show where the ocean floor is being forced under the edges of the Central American and Atlantic sides of the Caribbean plate. In places like Guatemala, northern Venezuela, and around the Cayman Ridge and Cayman Trench, the Earth's crust is not just sliding under, but also shifting and tearing apart, which we see in the form of fault lines in areas where the crust is pulling apart. On the north side of the Caribbean plate, the North America plate is moving westward relative to the Caribbean plate at about 0.8 inches per year. This movement is managed by several significant fault lines that stretch from Isla de Roatan to Haiti, including the Swan Island Fault and the Oriente Fault, which mark the southern and northern edges of the Cayman Trench. Further to the east, between the Dominican Republic and the island of Barbuda, the interaction between the North America plate and the Caribbean plate gets even more complicated. Here, the North America plate is sliding almost parallel and underneath the Caribbean plate. This activity has led to the creation of the very deep Puerto Rico Trench, in a region where we find moderately deep earthquakes within the submerged part of the North America plate, ranging from 43 to 186 miles deep. While this subduction zone under Puerto Rico could potentially produce a very large earthquake, no such events have occurred in the last 100 years. The geological interactions in this region are a clear example of Earth's surface's dynamic nature, shaped by its tectonic plates' slow but relentless movement. These movements lead to the formation of various geological features and have significant implications for earthquake activity in the area. Understanding these processes helps assess earthquake risks and prepare for future seismic events. The ongoing study of these interactions not only helps predict where large earthquakes might occur, but also aids in understanding how Earth's surface has evolved over millions of years. The most recent likely earthquake between tectonic plates in this area happened on May 2, 1787. This earthquake caused widespread damage across the island's northern coast, notably affecting places like Arecibo and San Juan. Since the start of the 20th century, the two biggest earthquakes recorded here were on August 4th, 1946, with a magnitude of 8.0 near Samana in northeastern Hispaniola, and another on July 29th, 1943, with a magnitude of 7.6 in the Mona Passage. Both earthquakes were shallow and occurred along thrust faults. In this region, the movement between the North America Plate and the Caribbean Plate is often managed by several left lateral strike-slip faults that cut through Hispaniola. Notable among these are the Septentrional Fault in the north and the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault in the south. The area near the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault is particularly well known for the devastating earthquake in Haiti on January 12, 2010, which had a magnitude of 7.0 and was followed by numerous aftershocks. This event mirrored an earlier earthquake that struck in 1770. Further to the east and south, the boundary between the tectonic plates curves around Puerto Rico and the northern Lesser Antilles. In this area, the movement of the Caribbean Plate relative to the North and South America plates is straighter, leading to intense island arc tectonics. Here, the North and South America plates are being pushed westward under the Caribbean Plate at a pace of about 0.8 inches per year along the Lesser Antilles Trench. This process causes moderately deep earthquakes within the plates being pushed under, and also leads to a series of active volcanoes along the island arc. Despite the Lesser Antilles being one of the most earthquake-prone areas in the Caribbean, there have been relatively few large earthquakes, greater than magnitude 7.0, in the past 100 years. However, one of the most significant earthquakes in this region occurred on Guadeloupe on February 8, 1843. This was a very large megathrust earthquake, with estimates suggesting it was over magnitude 8.0. More recently, the largest earthquake at a moderate depth happened on November 29, 2007, with a magnitude of 7.4 near Martinique, northwest of Fort-de-France. This tectonic activity not only shapes the geology and landscape of these islands, but also poses ongoing risks to the populations living in these regions. Understanding the mechanics and history of these seismic events is crucial for preparedness and mitigation efforts, ensuring that residents and structures are better equipped to handle potential future earthquakes. This knowledge is also vital for scientists studying the dynamic interactions between Earth's plates, helping to predict where and when the next big earthquake might occur, thereby saving lives and reducing damage. The southern boundary of the Caribbean Plate, where it meets the South America Plate, extends east-west across Trinidad and western Venezuela, moving at about 0.8 inches per year. This region is marked by significant transform faults, such as the Central Range Fault and the Bocono-San Sebastian L. Pilar faults, which are known for causing shallow earthquakes. The largest recorded earthquakes here since 1900 were a magnitude 7.7 earthquake in Caracas on October 29, 1900, and a magnitude 6.5 earthquake near the same region on July 29, 1967. As you move further west, there is a wide area of pressure and shifting across western Venezuela and central Colombia. The exact boundary of the plates in this part of northwestern South America is unclear, but the region shows a shift from the meeting of the Caribbean and South America plates in the east to where the Nazca and South America plates converge in the west. The area where these transitions occur is known for scattered seismic activity, involving mostly smaller earthquakes less than magnitude 6.0 that happen at shallow to medium depths. To the west, the tectonic plates along Colombia's coast present a different but equally strong picture of shifting and breaking, shaping the land. Panama's biggest earthquakes in history. Off the coast of Colombia, the boundary is marked by one tectonic plate sliding under another. This sliding happens at about 2.5 inches each year. A big earthquake with a strength of 8.5 happened in this area on January 31, 1906. Moving further to the west coast of Central America, another plate does the same thing under a different plate at a place called the Middle America Trench. Here, the rate of convergence varies from 2.8 to 3.2 inches per year, with the rate decreasing towards the north. This intense subduction process results in frequent earthquakes and the formation of many active volcanoes along this belt. Earthquakes that occur within the subducted part of the Cocos Plate can reach depths of nearly 186 miles. Since 1900, this area has seen several notable intermediate depth earthquakes, such as the September 7, 1915, magnitude 7.4 earthquake in El Salvador, and the October 5, 1950, magnitude 7.8 earthquake in Costa Rica. At the boundary between the Cocos and Nazca plates, there are numerous north-south running transform faults and east-west spreading centers. The most active and largest of these is the Panama Fracture Zone. This zone ends at the Galapagos Rift Zone in the south and at the Middle America Trench in the north, where it forms a critical part of the junction where the Cocos, Nazca, and Caribbean plates meet. Earthquakes along the Panama Fracture Zone typically occur at shallow depths and range from low to intermediate in strength, less than magnitude 7.2, generally showing right lateral strike-slip motion. The most significant earthquake recorded along this zone since 1900 was a magnitude 7.2 event on July 26, 1962. These seismic events are not only of geological interest, but also pose significant risks to communities, highlighting the need for continuous monitoring and preparedness strategies in these active seismic zones. Panama, located at the intersection of multiple tectonic plates, has a long history of significant seismic events. The country has faced numerous earthquakes over the years, many of which have resulted in extensive damage and loss of life. Here are detailed accounts of some of the most significant earthquakes that have occurred in Panama. The September 7, 1882 earthquake is the most powerful one recorded in Panama's history. This seismic event had a magnitude ranging between 7.9 and 8.3. Its center was near the San Blas Islands. Lasting about 60 seconds, the earthquake caused extensive destruction in Panama City and Colón. Many buildings, including several churches, were reduced to rubble. A tsunami followed the earthquake, severely impacting the San Blas Islands and even reaching distant shores like Nicaragua and Ecuador. This disaster claimed about 250 lives and left many more people injured. It also led to substantial infrastructural disruptions, including the derailment of the Panama-Colón Railway and the collapse of the facade of the town hall. Another notable earthquake struck Panama on May 2, 1621. This earthquake had an estimated magnitude of 6.9 and caused severe destruction in the old town of Panama, known as Panama la Vieja. The tremor demolished many stone buildings, including the council house, municipal house, and the residence of the judge. This calamity had a profound effect on the colonial authorities and the local population, which at the time numbered about 5,000. Reports also indicated that a small tsunami occurred following the earthquake, adding to the devastation. Panama encountered two significant seismic events in the early 20th century that demonstrated the region's vulnerability to earthquakes. On July 18, 1934, an earthquake with a magnitude of 7.7 occurred near the border between Panama and Costa Rica. Although this earthquake resulted in only limited structural damage, it was felt over a vast area, affecting numerous communities. Another substantial earthquake took place on December 5, 1941. This event, with a magnitude of 7.6, caused more extensive damage and even triggered a tsunami. These two earthquakes served as stark reminders of the constant seismic risks that this region faces due to its geological setting. Further compounding Panama's history of seismic activity, the 1991 Bocas del Toro earthquake, also referred to as the Lyman earthquake, struck on April 22nd with a magnitude of 7.7. The earthquake originated in Costa Rica, but its effects were devastating in Panama, especially in the Bocas del Toro province. The quake led to the deaths of 79 people and inflicted serious damage on the area's buildings and infrastructure. Notably, the Changuinola airport sustained significant damage, disrupting transport and aid efforts. In addition, thousands of residents were rendered homeless as buildings collapsed or were severely damaged. Complicating the disaster, the earthquake also generated a tsunami, which exacerbated the destruction in coastal areas. On July 30, 2002, another earthquake shook the region, this time with a magnitude of 6.5. Its epicenter was located off the southeastern coast of the Burica Peninsula, close to the border with Costa Rica. Fortunately, there were no fatalities reported from this earthquake, but it caused considerable damage to buildings and infrastructure in both Panama and Costa Rica. A significant aftershock measuring 6.0 in magnitude occurred a week later, further stressing the already damaged structures and heightening the anxiety among the affected populations. These events once again highlighted the ongoing threat of seismic activity in the area, underscoring the need for continued vigilance and preparedness in the face of natural disasters. These historical seismic activities highlight Panama's vulnerability to earthquakes due to its geographical location. Such events have had lasting effects on the country's landscape, infrastructure, and its people, shaping much of Panama's approach to building standards and emergency preparedness. Through studying these past earthquakes, Panama continues to improve its resilience against future seismic threats, seeking to protect its citizens and infrastructure from similar fates. Looking back at history, the biggest earthquakes ever recorded show just how powerful and destructive the Earth's movements can be. Deadly tsunamis from powerful quakes. Earthquakes are natural phenomena that can release enormous amounts of energy, resulting in significant destruction and loss of life. They are some of the most impactful events on Earth, affecting vast areas and numerous lives. We explore several of the largest earthquakes in recorded history, focusing on their strength, the devastation they caused, and the areas they impacted. The earthquake in Valdivia, Chile, on May 22, 1960, holds the record as the most powerful earthquake ever documented, with a magnitude of 9.5. This tremendous quake brought about extensive destruction throughout southern Chile, leading to the deaths of approximately 1,655 individuals, injuries to 3,000 more, and the displacement of 2 million people. It also triggered a massive tsunami that spread across the Pacific Ocean, impacting distant locations such as Hawaii, Japan, and the Philippines. The quake's impact was so profound that it altered the landscape over a stretch of more than 621 miles and was followed by the eruption of Puyehue volcano, which compounded the region's turmoil just 2 days later. Another significant seismic event occurred in Alaska on March 28, 1964, known as the Great Alaska Earthquake or the Prince William Sound Earthquake, with a magnitude of 9.2. This earthquake primarily affected Alaska, causing a devastating tsunami that resulted in 128 fatalities and extensive property damage. Anchorage, the largest city in Alaska, experienced severe destruction as the ground shook intensely for around 3 minutes. The quake also led to significant geographical changes, including the uplift and subsidence of land, which permanently transformed the Alaskan coastline. On December 26, 2004, an undersea megathrust earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 struck off the west coast of northern Sumatra, Indonesia. This earthquake set off a chain of tsunamis that wreaked havoc on coastal communities throughout South Asia and East Africa. The catastrophic event claimed the lives of approximately 227,000 and 900 people and displaced about 1.7 million individuals across 14 countries. The earthquake's center was located 155 miles southeast of Banda Aceh, Indonesia, at a depth of 18 miles, demonstrating the immense power of undersea seismic activity. The Tohoku earthquake, which occurred on March 11, 2011, with a magnitude of 9.0, unleashed a massive tsunami that caused significant devastation along the northeastern coast of Japan. This disaster not only led to the tragic loss of thousands of lives, but also triggered a severe nuclear crisis at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The repercussions of the earthquake and tsunami extended far beyond the immediate physical damage, severely affecting Japan's economy and infrastructure, particularly industries dependent on nuclear energy. The Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia experienced a powerful earthquake on November 4, 1952, also with a magnitude of 9.0. This earthquake generated a substantial tsunami, which caused considerable damage in Hawaii, where the waves reached heights of over 30 feet. Despite the severe property damage in the Hawaiian Islands, there were no fatalities directly linked to the earthquake. This event highlights the far-reaching effects of seismic activities, capable of causing significant damage thousands of miles away from the epicenter. On February 27, 2010, a very large earthquake with a magnitude of 8.8 struck off the coast of Chile near the Biobío region. This earthquake, along with the resulting tsunami, caused the deaths of over 500 people and displaced around 1.8 million individuals. The center of the earthquake was found 208 miles southwest of Santiago, Chile's capital, and occurred at a depth of 21 miles below the Earth's surface. The earthquake led to widespread destruction of buildings and other structures, and the economic losses from this event were estimated to be around $30 billion. This significant natural disaster not only impacted the immediate area, but also had long-lasting effects on the region's infrastructure and economy. Earlier, on January 31, 1906, another significant earthquake of magnitude 8.8 occurred off the coast of Ecuador and Colombia. This seismic event caused a massive tsunami that resulted in the deaths of between 500 and 1,500 people in the surrounding areas. The force of the tsunami was so powerful that its effects were felt as far away as San Francisco, Hawaii, and even Japan. This historical earthquake demonstrated the extensive reach and destructive power of tsunamis, affecting distant coastlines and communities far from the earthquake's epicenter. On February 4, 1965, the Rat Islands in Alaska were struck by an earthquake measuring 8.7 on the Richter scale. This powerful earthquake led to the generation of a tsunami, which subsequently caused significant flooding and property damage on the nearby islands. Remarkably, despite the extensive damage, there were no fatalities or injuries reported. This event underscored the high seismic activity in the Aleutian Islands and the potential for large-scale natural disasters in this geologically active region. The Assam-Tibet earthquake, which occurred on August 15, 1950, registered a magnitude of 8.6. This devastating inland earthquake triggered numerous landslides and created large ground cracks, causing widespread destruction of structures throughout Tibet and Assam in India. The death toll from this earthquake reached at least 1,500 people. Moreover, the seismic disturbances were so intense that they even affected lake levels as far away as Norway, illustrating the far-reaching impacts of seismic events on the Earth's geology. Lastly, on March 28, 2005, an earthquake of magnitude 8.6 struck near the island of Nias in Indonesia. This severe earthquake resulted in the deaths of more than 1,300 people and inflicted significant damage on the infrastructure. Occurring in a region still recovering from the catastrophic 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, this event highlighted the ongoing seismic risks in the area, which is prone to frequent and powerful earthquakes. The repeated seismic activity in this part of Indonesia emphasizes the vulnerability of these communities to natural disasters and the need for robust disaster preparedness and response strategies. Is the Gulf of Darien earthquake just a natural event? Or could it be linked to hidden geological puzzles that authorities aren't telling us? What do you think is really going on? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more intriguing stories and updates. Your support helps us bring you the most engaging content. Stay tuned.